Hi guys. So in the previous session, we have created subroutines and include programs as part of modularization techniques. Today we'll see function module. So subroutine is local to the same program, but include programs can be called in different executable programs. Can we call include program in another include program?
No, sir.
We can. Okay.
Can, sir.
We can call one include program in another include program. Okay. But
Okay, sir.
they cannot execute independently. To execute the include program logic, whatever the functionality available in include program, what we need to add these include programs to a executable program.
Program.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Without a executable program, include program cannot be executed. But you can add any number of include programs to other include program.
Suitable. Okay.
You can add include program to other include program or to a executable program.
Int-
But without a executable program, we cannot execute the include program. Okay. These are global. Execute include programs are global, so you can call include programs in any other programs to reuse the functionality. Okay. Now, now we'll see function module. So what is a function module? It is also a reusable modular unit, or in general we call them FM. Okay, function module or FM is a so where can we call this function module? Function module can be called
Any
in
program.
any
Executable.
program that can be a include program or executable program, or we can call one function module in another function module, or we can call function modules within the class methods, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So function modules follows procedural oriented programming model. Okay. Class methods,
Object oriented
object oriented
oriented.
programming model. All so all function modules are assigned to one function group. Okay. So each function group contains group of
Related
group
function.
of related function modules. Okay. Each function group So each function group contains group of related function modules. So function group, so all the function modules in the function group can share all the global data of that function group. Okay. For example, we are creating function modules for sales and distribution module. So we are going to assign that function module to a specific function group, and we are creating function module related to finance domain. We are going to assign that function module to a specific function group. Okay. So depends on the function module, we are going to assign that function module to a specific function group. Okay. So we have a lot of standard function modules provided by SAP, and we can also create our own custom function modules. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
What is the advantage of function modules? Just like other modularizing units,
Reusable.
reusability. Okay. Reusability is the advantage. And we have different types of function modules. First we'll see T code. T code to create function modules are SC37. It is to create the function module. Custom function module are to access the standard function modules. So there are different types of function modules. They are normal function module. Second one, remote enabled function module. Third one, update function module. So we'll work like on these function modules in future sessions, but I'll give you some brief introduction. Normal function modules you can call only within the same SAP system. Okay, they are normal function modules. RFC function modules, remote enabled or RFC. Short term we call them as RFC function modules. RFC function modules can be called in other SAP systems also. In other SAP systems also. Let's say we have two different SAP systems here, 2020 and 2021. So the function module that is available in 2021 can be called in 2020 also if it is a RFC type function module. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Update task function module, usually we use this to update the database tables for database operations to make sure all the tables are updated correctly. So like for this we need to use commit work.
Grateful.
So these are three types of function modules: normal, remote enabled, and update function module. It is very important interview question. Okay, very general question: normal, remote enabled, and update function module. Types of function modules. Okay. Now let's see and let's go and create a function module. Just like how we created yesterday for that calculation. Today also we'll try to create one function module for that arithmetic operation. For the next few sessions, we're going to create programs using function
Function
modules.
module.
So what is the transaction code to create the function module?
SC37.
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 Why I am not authorized to access SC37?
In 2020. Easy working.
So if I'll just tell you one thing. In SAP, right, not everyone can access every transaction code. Okay, so everything will be controlled using authorization mechanism or authorization techniques by basis team, basis consultant who is basis consultant is a system admin. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so every user is restricted to use specific transaction codes, depends on his role. Okay, if you are not able to access any specific transaction codes which are required for the project specific work, you need to request for the authorization to access that specific transaction code. Okay,
So also we didn't get that, sir.
so yeah, that's okay. Here, this is the issue with system, but in
Mm.
general, in projects.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. In 2021, I am able to access function builder. The transaction code is SC37. Now tell me, what is a prerequisite to create a function module?
Function group.
Function group is required. Okay, to
Yes,
create
sir.
a function module, we need a function group. That might be already existing function group, or we can create a new function group.
Okay, sir.
Where did we use these function groups? Can anyone
In
remember?
transaction maintenance generator.
Not
Table maintenance
transaction, table
generator.
maintenance generator.
Yes.
Here also we are going to use the same function groups. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's try to access any standard function module. For example, date. I'm trying to search some function module with the keywords. Let's see what is this function module. Display. Go to attributes. So what is the type of this function module in
Regular,
attributes?
normal,
Regular,
regular function
regular or
module.
normal. Okay.
Okay,
In
sir. Okay.
ECC you can see normal, and here,
Regular. Regular.
okay, remote enabled function module and update function module, three types. And this function module is assigned to one function group, that is HRP
Pretty.
DBT some function group.
Yes.
Okay, if you open this function group, double click, go to master program. This is top include. This is include program. Everyone aware of include program, right?
Sure.
So this contains global declarations. Global declarations using for that function module. Okay, and what is this? This is one function module, SCN underscore illness. Each include represents a different function module. SCN process logic, that is different function module. SCN mobility, this is different function module. Process logic, this is a
Process
different
logic.
function module.
Date and
Convert
name.
date days, this is a different function module. How many function modules we have in this function group? Assigned to this function group,
Six.
six function modules. Okay, so in this include program you can check all the function modules assigned to this function group. Okay,
Yes, sir.
or in SC80 also you can check that. Object navigator SC80, go to SC80. So here select instead of package, select function group and enter the function group and press enter. Sorry, what is the function group name? This one. So here you can see all the function modules assigned to this function group. There are 6 function modules,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And each function module is in the form of one include program.
Include.
Okay, that was it. Now, what is import? Import parameter is used to pass the input to the function module, to pass the inputs to the function module. Okay, export, this is to return the
Out.
output, return the output. Changing, changing is combination of both import and export. So you can pass the input and you can change, you can update that value and return the output using changing parameter. Okay, it is combination of both import and export.
Sir.
Okay,
Sir.
why we have a changing parameter? For example, if you pass some value and by applying some validations, if you want to update that value, so for that we use a changing.
Change.
Tables, this is to handle internal table data, to pass the internal table data as input or to return the internal table data as output. Okay, here in import and export, by default it will accept only a single record, single field value or single record. Okay, but whatever the parameters you defined in tables, they work like internal table like structures. They can accept internal table data as inputs or return internal table data as output.
Yes, sir.
Exceptions, exceptions are used to raise the errors. When there is a error inside the function module, how can you return that error? Using exceptions. Source code, source code is to implement your business logic. Here you can see all the function module interface. This is called, what do you call this? Function module interface. Okay, so what does a function module interface contains?
Source
Import, export,
code.
changing, tables,
Tables
exceptions,
exception source
source
code.
code. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now to test this function module, how can you test this function module? Just execute here, test or execute, pass the input. Okay, some duration, I don't know what is this duration. Let me pass some values. By looking at this, I can see these are some numerical values. Execute. So it is calculating like this. This is the output. ES underscore date are the output. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is the final output. Let's see what's happening inside this. Let me keep a breakpoint here. Enter some values. 2, 4, 8. I don't know what is the logic. I'm trying to understand the logic of this function module. So it is accepting 3 values as input. What it is doing? Months. It is taking 30 days as month and 365 days as year,
Yeah.
assigning the values. And what it is doing? Year into this value, YY value. Like year into 2, 365 into 2 and plus 30 into 4 plus this value 6.
Six. Yes, sir.
It is calculating
Month, month,
the
year.
value. The total is 856. Okay, and it is returning the output into ES underscore dates. This is export parameter, right? ES underscore day, right?
Difference is.
Returning the output to ES underscore dates. Okay,
Yes, sir.
implementing the logic is not enough. You have to return the data to the exporting parameter. Then only output will be captured in the calling program. Okay, here. Now let's create one sample function module. So what is the prerequisite for a function module?
Function group.
Function group, right? If
Yes,
we are
sir.
already having a function group, we don't need to create function group every time, right? But for now, let's assume we don't have a function group and we are going to create a function group. Now go to create a function group, go to function groups, create group. Provide the function group name, for example,
Sir, under one function group, we can relate same data modules in under
yeah,
this.
related function modules. You can assign multiple related function modules to one function group.
Okay.
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 In general, in projects, we're not going to create function group every time. Whenever you are creating a function module, you are going to use the existing function groups.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay, sir.
ZDemoFG is created, but it is not activated. It is just created. To activate this, what we need to do? Go to function groups, display group, enter the function group whatever you created, ZDemoFG, continue. It is inactive, right? The status is inactive.
Yes, sir.
Now what you need to do to activate this, there are two approaches. One approach is go to SC80, that is object navigator, enter the function group name here, select the function group and enter the function group name here, press enter. Here you can see that function group, right click on the function group and activate.
Okay.
Select all the objects and activate. Now function group is activated. Now the other approach is go to here, go to function group, display group, enter the function group name, click on display. Now go to, it is activated now, but if it is inactive, now go to master program and activate the master program.
Okay.
Okay, you have to select all the includes also. Activate the master program. Now the function group will be activated. Okay, now we have only two includes, top include and FGX include. If you click
6.
on this, you cannot see any include programs because we did not create or we did not assign any function modules to it, right? Now let's create a function module, ZDemo, add numbers. This is my function module. Create. What it is asking for?
Group.
Function group name. Enter the function group. Provide the short description. Continue. Now, what type of function module it is? Is it a regular function
Regular.
module, RFC function module, or update function module? For now, I am going to create regular function module because there is no need of calling this function module in other SAP system. Go to import. What is import for?
Pass.
You are passing
Pass
on
the inputs.
import inputs.
Inputs. So define one name for parameter. For example, since it is an importing parameter, I'll use like this: I underscore value 1 type. What is the type? I'll take
I.
integer,
Integer.
or you can take the data element also. Here you can use data element, table name, structure name. Okay,
Okay.
Okay, sir.
you can use table name also.
Mm,
Mara depends on the requirement. Okay, you can use
okay, sir.
structure name also. If you use table name, what type of object it will be? What it can accept as input? One record, one
Matrix.
Mara table record as input. It can
Okay.
accept. Okay,
Okay.
let's take I integer data value 1, I underscore value 2. These names are as per the naming conventions. Okay, These names are
Yes,
as
sir.
per naming conventions. But in general, we use I underscore or IM underscore to define it as a importing parameter. Okay. You can use any name, but we follow some naming convention. Okay. I. If you want to pass any default value, use some value here. That will accept as a default value if you don't pass any value. Okay.
Okay, sir. There is only one question.
Okay. And this is value 2. Now, this is input, right? To add two numbers, we need two numbers, value 1 and value 1, value 2. Now, how to return the output? For that, we need a export parameter. For example, ex underscore output type. I'll take same type as integer
Output.
output. Changing, I'm not going to define any changing or tables parameter because there is no necessary to use changing or tables for this example. Exceptions, I'll use exceptions. I'm defining one exception, no underscore data. Okay, no data. You can define multiple exceptions also, depends on your requirement. Okay, right? You can use any name, proper name. Okay, now go to source code. You can see the signature here, function module interface here. Now how to calculate the value? Ex underscore output equal to im underscore value 1
Value 1 plus
plus,
I am underscore value 2.
right? For example, how to raise the exception? I can raise exceptions like this. If ex underscore output is initial, if ex underscore output is empty or 0, if it is 0, then I'll raise the exception. How to raise the exception? Here I have
Machine
defined the
1.
exception. Here I have defined the exception, but how to raise the exception? Like this, using raise. Raise no underscore data. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these exceptions can be handled using a sub RC check. SY sub RC. If exception is raised, the sub RC will be 1 because this is the first exception. If you have multiple exceptions, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Since this is the first exception, sub RC value will be 1. If there is one more exception, if that is raised, sub
2.
RC value will be 2. Okay. Now completed. Check the syntax.
Value
There is a
names.
typo. Yeah. No syntax errors. Activate this. Activate the function module. Now test the function module. Sum 10 and 20. Execute. So value is captured to value is
Export.
calculated and returned to exporting parameter 30.
Yes, sir.
Let me pass 0 values. Execute. What happened?
Data exception.
What is this?
No data
No
exception.
data exception is raised
Yes, sir.
because there is no value in the exporting parameter. Okay.
Okay,
Now
sir.
this is how we are going to use the function module, creating and testing it in SC37. No, right? We are going to use this in some program. Let's create a program. We are going to use this function module in some program. Create What type of program?
Executable
Program
program.
saves.
Local object.
So this will create one frame. So inside that define parameters. This is for designing, okay? Selection screen begin of block and end of block. Type I. So we have two parameters, and for input I'll define one parameter. Sorry, not for input, for output. Okay, type I. We have to take variables which are compatible to the inputs. Okay, so initialization, selection screen, start of selection. Now, can we call function module in any event? Can we call function module in initialization event?
No, sir.
Why can't you call?
That is related to business logic, right?
Okay, that might be related to business logic. Can we call or not? We can call it in any event. Okay,
Okay, sir.
Okay.
we
Okay,
can
sir.
call function modules in any event. Okay, depends on the requirement. Okay, since it is related to business logic, we are going to call it in start of selection. But if you call it in initialization, is it going to throw any error?
No.
No, but that doesn't make sense.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you won't get any error. You can call function modules in any event, depends on your requirement. Now go to pattern. Now how to call the function module? Place the cursor at specific position where you need to call it. Go to pattern. What is your function module name? This one, right? Zdemo add numbers, or you can also search here using stars. This one, right?
Yes,
Now
sir.
pass the inputs. Always remember, when you are passing the inputs, please observe this im underscore value 1. What is this? Importing parameter, right? Importing parameter of the function module. These two are the importing parameters of the function modules, right?
Yes, sir.
Always please make sure the type of this importing parameter and the type what you are passing here should be
Equal.
same. Otherwise, you'll get runtime exceptions. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Always make sure the function module parameters and your calling program parameters are same, are referring to the same type. Okay? Value 1, value 2. So whatever the users entered values will be, we are passing it to the function module and return the output. Enable this uncomment, and value will be captured to one variable. This one also should be same type as this exporting parameter,
Okay,
right?
sir.
Sir,
Yes,
sir,
yes.
sir, in parameters, p-value type taken integer only or numbers?
Depends on the requirement. Here I have taken integer, but in general, depends on the requirement. We can take different types of parameters, characters,
Okay, sir.
dates, time, right?
Okay, sir.
Floating point, packed decimal, anything. Okay. For this simple example, I have taken integer. Okay. Now enable the exceptions also. For no data, it is 1, and for others 2. You can check the exception here. Okay. Now let's display the data. If it is equal to 0, sub rc equal to 0, that means no exceptions are raised. Then write the output lv underscore output. Okay, this is how we can call the function module in the program. In any program, you can call the same function module in any program for calculating two numbers. Whenever you have a requirement, same requirement, activate the program. Now keep a breakpoint here, execute. You have to maintain the text selection text and execute. Now, now we have different debugging options, right? F5, F6, F7, and F8.
Yes, sir.
Now we can observe the difference. What happens if we click on F5? Now the controller is at function module. What happens if you click on
Will
F5?
it will go the function module screen. It
This is
will
the first
enter the function
parameter.
module.
Second parameter, output is empty. If I click on F5, it will go inside the
Function
function
module.
module logic. Okay, and returns to the calling program once all the function module logic is executed. Sub RC is 0, no exception is raised, right? F8. That is the output. Now, did I remove the breakpoint? Execute. Now, if I click on F6, what will happen? Earlier I clicked on F5, so it executed the function module logic line by line. If I click on F6, what will happen? Let's see. Click on F6.
Execute function by function.
It completed the execution in a single step. It did not go inside the function module, but it is completed the function module execution. So F6 is by function, function by function. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we got the output, display the data. Now execute again. When we use F7, F7
Main
is line by
program
line. For example,
calling
I click on F5. I click on F5. Now where I am in? Now where I am in?
function.
Function module, right? But I've debugged few lines of code, but I don't want to debug further. I don't want to debug this function module further. I just want to jump back to my calling program. Now what I need to press?
Sir.
F7. It will take me back to the calling program. When you are inside the function module, if you click on F7,
Yes, sir.
it will complete the function execution and take you to the calling program. Okay. Now let's try F8. If you click on F8, it will complete the execution in single step. If you enter the function module and press on F8, here also it will complete the complete program execution. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But when you enter into the function module and press F7, it will take you to the calling program. Okay. This is same for subroutines also. Subroutines and include programs. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So F5, F6, F7, F8. So when you are working with the function modules class methods, you can observe this difference. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay.
Now this is how you can call the function module in a program. The, the process is same, calling in any program. Okay. What you need to make sure? You need to make sure to pass the parameters
Data
with the
to.
same type.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For example, let me change it to some number and let me try. Is it going to accept number type or not? I'm changing the parameter p underscore value 1 as number, but I did not change this function module parameter. What is the function module parameter?
I
Integer.
enter,
Value
sir.
1, it is for integer. It's taking time. So in the next session, we'll try to create function modules using select statements, passing work areas, and returning the internal tables. We'll see these examples. Okay. So going forward, whoever create any program that should be based on function modules. All your business logic should be implemented inside a function module, and you should call that function module in the program. That may be validation or data selection. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Then once you are familiar with function modules, then we'll start working on class methods, object-oriented class methods. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyway, it's taking time. So now I've changed the type, right? And if you execute the program, the function module will not execute. It will throw runtime exception. Okay.
Okay, sir.